Hello friends, welcome to the Point. Let's continue our discussion on Mughal Empire. In the previous session we have discussed about Akbar and his relations with Rajputs, his religious policies and the land revenue administration and his system of Mansabdari, and about his son Jahangir, Nur Jahan, and we also discussed about Shah Jahan and his wife Mumtaz and Shah Jahan's sons, and among four sons Aurangzeb emerged victorious, and we'll study in detail about Aurangzeb in this session. Aurangzeb, he ruled from 1658 to 1707 AD. Aurangzeb was one of the ablest of the Mughal kings, and he assumed the title called Alamgir, which means world conqueror or conqueror of the world. Aurangzeb's military campaigns in his first 10 years of his reign were great success. He suppressed the minor revolts, but he faced a serious difficulties in the later part of his reign. The Jats and Satnamis and also the Sikhs revolted against Aurangzeb. These revolts were induced by his harsh religious policies. Deccan Policy of Aurangzeb. Deccan Policy of the Mughals, it started from the reign of Akbar itself, and Akbar conquered Khandesh and Berar. Jahangir fought against Malik Amber of Ahmednagar, and during the Shah Jahan's reign, Aurangzeb, as a governor of Deccan, he followed an aggressive Deccan policy. And when Aurangzeb became a Mughal emperor, and for the first 25 years he concentrated on the northwest frontier, and at that time the Maratha ruler called Shivaji, he carved out an independent Maratha kingdom in the territories of North and South Konkan. So to contain the spread of Marathas, Aurangzeb decided to invade Bijapur and Golconda. So he defeated Sikandar Shah of Bijapur and he annexed Bijapur. And then Aurangzeb, he proceeded against Golconda and he eliminated Qutb Shahi dynasty. And this dynasty was also annexed by Aurangzeb. The destruction of Deccan kingdoms, it was a political blunder on the part of Aurangzeb. The barrier between the Mughals and the Marathas was removed, and there ensured a direct confrontation between them. And also his Deccan campaign exhausted the Mughal treasury. Religious policies of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb, he was a staunch and orthodox Muslim in his personal life. So his deal was to transform India into an Islamic state, and he created a separate department to enforce moral codes under a high-powered officer called Mushtasib. Drinking was prohibited. Cultivation and use of bhang and other drugs were banned. Aurangzeb forbade music in the Mughal court. He discontinued the practice of Jaroka Darshan. He also discontinued the celebration of Dasara, and royal astronomers and astrologers were also dismissed from service. Initially, Aurangzeb banned the construction of new Hindu temples and the repair of old temples, and then he began a policy of destroying Hindu temples. The celebrated temples at Mathura and Banaras were reduced to ruins, and in 1679 he reimposed jizya and pilgrim tax, and he was also not tolerant of other Muslim sects also. The celebration of Muharram was stopped, and his invasion against the Deccan Sultanates were partly due to his hatred of Shia faith. He was also against the Sikhs, and he executed the 9th Sikh Guru Tej Bahadur. This had resulted in transformation of Sikhs into a warring community. His religious policy was responsible for turning the Rajputs, the Marathas and Sikhs into the enemies of Mughal Empire, and it had also resulted in rebellions of Jats of Mathura and Satnamis of Mewar, and therefore Aurangzeb was held responsible for decline of Mughal Empire. Personality and character of Aurangzeb. In his private life, Aurangzeb was industrious and well-disciplined person. He was very simple in food and dress. He earned money for his personal expenses by copying Quran and selling those copies. So he did not consume wine. He was learned and proficient in Arabic and Persian languages. He was a lover of books. He was devoted to his religion and he conducted prayers 5 times a day. He strictly observed the Ramzan fasting. In the political field, Aurangzeb committed serious mistakes. Aurangzeb misunderstood the true nature of the Maratha movement and antagonized them. He failed to solve the Maratha problem and left an open sore. His policy towards Shia Deccan sultanates also proved to be a wrong policy. His religious policy was also not successful. Aurangzeb was an orthodox Sunni Muslim, but his move to apply his religious thought rigidly in a non-Muslim society was a failure. His antagonistic policies towards non-Muslims, it did not help him to rally the Muslims to his side. On the other hand, it had strengthened political enemies of the Mughal Empire. Causes for the downfall of the Mughals. The Mughal Empire declined rapidly after the death of Aurangzeb. The Mughal court became the scene of factions among the nobles. The weakness of the empire was exposed when Nadir Shah imprisoned the Mughal emperor and located Delhi in 1739. The causes for the downfall of the Mughal Empire were varied, and to some extent the religious and Deccan policies of Aurangzeb contributed to its decline. The weak successes and demoralization of the Mughal army also paved the way for it. The vastness of the empire became unwieldy, and the financial difficulties due to continuous wars, it led to the decline of the Mughal Empire. The neglect of the sea power by Mughals was felt when the Europeans began to settle in India. The invasions of Nadir Shah and Ahmad Shah Abdali weakened the Mughal state, and thus the decline and downfall of Mughal Empire, it was due to combination of political, social and economic factors overall. So this is all about the Mughal Empire. See you all in the next session with some other interesting topic. Thank you.